Good morning, Nigeria. I like to say that TVC has got a finger on the pulse and an eye on the street. And every day on this segment, I do my best to bring you trending stories that are shaping the world that we live in. We begin today with some sturdy politics. It was celebration mode in Benin City as Edo State Governor Monday Okpewolo and his aides broke into song and dance after the Supreme Court affirmed his victory in the September 2024 governorship election. The Apex Court on July 10th dismissed the petition filed by PDP candidate Asue Godalo, who challenged the election results, alleging irregularities and electoral malpractice. But the court has ruled that the case lacked merit, seeking Okpewolo's mandate. In a viral clip that's now trending online, the governor is seen dancing joyfully in his office alongside his aides and thanking God for the outcome and the verdict. Now, this moment, while very light-hearted, also drew attention online. Some people were amused by him and others were critical. Very interesting. I think that we always chalk it up to God when we win elections, not taking into account the politics that we did on the ground. Very interesting. Moving on in some more politics. As the newly coalesced African Democratic Congress begins to shape Nigeria's evolving political landscape, one of its most prominent figures, Peter Obi, is once again at the center of public attention. A now viral video shows the former presidential candidate personally serving food to guests at an event, sparking, of course, a mixed bag of reactions online. While some Nigerians hail the gesture as a reflection of genuine humility and people-focused leadership, others were quick to question his motive. They called it performative and accused him of attempting to stir public sentiment ahead of possible political ambitions. As political realignments continue and Nigerians brace for the 2027 election cycle, every move, especially by key players like Obi, is being watched, analyzed, and as this video shows us, scrutinized. A lot of people were saying that this is just for optics. I think for Peter Obi, this is symbolic. Undeniably, we live in a country where a lot of leaders expect to be served as opposed to serve. And I think this was him saying, I'm ready to serve the people. But what do I know? Let's take a look at social media. Dean Han says, is all these high service needed? Masses will vote you if they think you would do better, but trying to win them over through cheap services will not help. We'll take one more social media submission. Chief Ochendo One says, this should be a life of a politician, life of service. A leader must be ready to serve his people when needed and necessary. Peter Obi is a very good example for any young politician. Indeed, in order to lead, we must first serve. Moving on in a more somber development, if you will. The heartbreaking death of Ajana Chioma Isabella, a law student at Nnamdi Azikiwe University, has sparked national outrage and questions of if Nigerians possess empathy. Chioma was a young woman who lived with chronic diabetes, and she reportedly died earlier this week after being locked out of her room, unable to access her life-saving insulin. Her door had jammed, but when she asked the hostel staff at Almada Hostel for help, they allegedly refused to open it unless she paid a steep fee, despite knowing that it was a medical emergency. Instead of empathy, Chioma was reportedly blamed for being careless, and for 3 days she was left without her medication. Her health, of course, quickly declined, and by the time she was rushed to the hospital, it was a little too late. She died just days before heading to law school, and her death has left the Unizik community in mourning and set off a firestorm on social media, with many calling for accountability and reforms in hostel management across Nigerian universities. This story makes me very sad because the other day we saw lots of law students who had graduated and were being called to bar. I often think, had she planned her law school photo shoot? Did she even know if she wanted to practice at all or specialize in any particular area of law? I can imagine that family members of her were already excited to watch her being called to bar. And because somebody somewhere wanted to follow protocol over empathy, she has now lost her life. Condolences go out to her family. This is so sad. May her soul rest in peace. Let's take a look at social media. Beautiful young woman, gone too soon. Oba says, a student didn't die because of diabetes. She died because of negligence dressed as policy, because some cold-blooded staff valued a spare key fee over a human life. Unizik lost a future lawyer. Her family lost a daughter. Nigeria lost someone because a hostel decided that bureaucracy was more important than compassion. We'll take one more tweet. Leon says, everything is not protocol and policy. Sometimes you bend these things to save human lives. Absolutely, we do see a pattern where some Nigerians are graced with a little power, security men, staff, and they want to lord it over you. And oftentimes it lacks empathy or even merit. Tim, what do you make of this? This is indeed a child gone too soon.
Yeah, it is said that if you want to know the true character of a person, give the person money or power. You know, and both of these elements played in this story. So very unfortunate. So the gentleman or lady that was asking for a fee before he or she opens the door, how is he or she feeling right now that Chioma had lost her life? It is a very, very sad story. We are human beings. We are not perfect. All of us forget our keys home. We forget very important things at home. And I don't want to mention how many times that happens in a year. For somebody to put money, bureaucracy, and all that over the health of a full human being is completely... Look, let's leave that one and move on. Peter Obi serving food in an event. Yeah, Peter Obi, we have seen so many of this kind of things going on amongst the political class. We've seen some doing, dressing somebody's hair in a hairdressing salon. We've seen them ride Okada, as commercial Okada riders and so on. It is for the optics. It is for the optics. But Peter Obi, over time, has sort of convinced a lot of Nigerians that he will be more of a servant than a boss.
Okay, so I'll start with Chioma's story because Olamide, when I saw it online yesterday, I actually shared a tear. Because I know people that have diabetes, people close to me that have diabetes, and I know how important it is for her to have gotten her drugs. But then we ask questions that where is our human love? I just really pray that the person that demanded money, I feel like that person should be arrested, first of all, because in one way or the other, he played a key role in her death. And look at this young girl, beautiful, intelligent. She's gone just because of negligence, and I'll add wickedness, because there was no reason he could have given her that key and just after it still collect money. I just want to tell people, where is our human love? In as much as the money is important, we also need to look at the human life, because no amount of money can bring back a human life. Because right now, even if her parents give you all that money, she's dead. She cannot come back. So let's stop putting money first. Let's put lives first. And after we deal with that, we can now talk about money. So please, the person that did this, I really pray and hope that at least they take him to prison or something, just so that he can learn, so that next time he understands that human life is more valuable than money. Now, moving on to the Peter Obi story. Olamide, this is not for me. Allegedly, I read a comment that said, wow, no, it's not for me, Olamide. You wouldn't put me in trouble on this show. I read a comment on social media that said, you know, while he was governor of Anambra, did he do this? While he was sitting governor, did he serve food? You know, we've seen a lot of things when it comes to politicians. That's why this is looking funny. And if you see the comments on social media, everybody's like, Oga, rest, you too do. And I found it a little bit, you know, it just really didn't look, it didn't really sit well with me. And that's my opinion, you know, not everybody's opinion, but it didn't really sit well with me, him serving the food. But Ibrahim.
Yeah, it actually doesn't make any sense to me as well. And this is not a social media comment. This is what I think. Because one thing is, I feel like, you know, is it within his right to feel, yeah, let me do some things. Let me make it symbolic for people to see that if I'm at the aim of affairs, I would serve the people. So let me make it symbolic by serving them. It's normal that people would do that. We saw Donald Trump, you know, is it serving or selling snacks, McDonald's to, you know, American citizens while he was running for president. We saw Ayodele Fayose back in the day eating corn. You know, some of these people doing all of these things. But do they do the same thing? Do they repeat it when they get into power? The question you asked, the person that tweeted, did Peter Obi do the same thing while he was governor? If he didn't do it, so what's the point? I don't understand. Why are you trying to, you know, make everyone feel like, yeah, you are the same person who will see sitting with Almajirai, you know, whining and dining with them just to show that, yes, I'm the man of the people, it's fine. At the same time, I could recall, you know, a call that came out, whether it denied or whether he admitted or denied it, I don't know, but, you know, somewhat pitting religions against themselves. The kind of call that was made during the election, saying that, Papa, this is a war that we have to fight. So I think we should not be too desperate. We should not just do your thing, say your thing, and let us see that you are honest in what you do. Because all of these things is becoming, I don't know, for the want of word, grandiose. It's even beyond the optics. It's somehow, it doesn't make sense to me.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I like to call that the optics of politics. I'll take it. I'll take some more stories. Moving on in the world of social media, a viral video has captured the moment a frustrated Nigerian woman stormed a First Bank branch, demanding answers after 949,000 was allegedly withdrawn from her mother's account via a mobile app without her knowledge. Now, according to this woman, not only was the money drained, but debit alerts were disabled, making it harder for her mother to notice these transactions in real time. The woman was clearly emotional, and this was her second visit to the bank after no clear resolution was offered. Take a look at this video.
Will you calm down? 949,000 naira, will you calm down? Tell me! Will you calm down? If it was you, will you calm down?
See, this is my picture.
Now, in a video that we didn't show here for a lack of time, this woman displayed, Yorubas call it dasirof. But anyway, this raises the question of how secure digital banking really is in Nigeria, especially when it comes to protecting vulnerable users like the elderly, like this woman's mother, and whether banks are actually doing enough to take responsibility when things go wrong. Sometimes I worry in Nigeria that it takes a viral video, it takes us displaying a certain peculiar type of madness to be taken seriously, and it's very sad. Let's take a look at social media. Adewale Adebayo says, while this approach can get you attention and may ultimately trigger an action, I bet it's not the best method even in Nigeria. The system still works, especially finance, if you follow it rigorously. But most people just don't believe in the system. We'll take one more tweet. Enugu First Son says, she should go to the CBN office and ask for the fraud desk to lay her complaint. First Bank will call her and tell her who did it and which office after the refund. I advised a student in Enugu whose 20K was deducted, and UBA told him it's one of their staff in Nasarawa who committed the wire fraud. Interesting. Wahala. Moving on in international news. Mali's military-led government has given coup leader Assimi Goïta a fresh 5-year presidential mandate, which is renewable as many times as necessary. And he doesn't need to be elected to keep the presidency. The country's transitional parliament approved the new law on Thursday, allowing Goïta to stay in power until at least the year 2030, with the option to renew his term indefinitely as long as the country remains stable under his watch. Now, Goïta first seized power in 2020 and then staged another coup in 2021 to tighten his grip. Back then, he made a promise to return Mali to civilian rule by March 2024. But as this deadline came and went, there were no elections, no transition, and no plan to hand over power, just silence. And this latest move gives him full control of the country. This has raised a concern, of course, in West Africa, where we're seeing military takeovers have been on the rise, and trust in military and democratic transitions is wearing thin. This is a trend in West Africa, these open-ended military regimes. We're seeing 4 countries now that are being led by coup regimes: Burkina Faso, Guinea, Niger, and now Mali. Very interesting. But before I take some tweets and hand over to my team, I'd like you guys to please chime in with the hashtag TrendingNowTVC on any social media platform. I promise we are listening. Let me take a tweet on the Mali story. Very interesting. I've noticed that when we talk about Pan-Africanism, you guys are always quick to chime in, and it shows that there's hope for Africa yet. Totino says, Goïta's power grab with an unlimited term is a blatant betrayal of Mali's democratic hopes, cementing a military dictatorship while dodging elections. Very, very interesting. And Messiah says, what's the difference between him and the president he overthrew? He's realized there's so much in presidency. Now look at how selfish he has become. Tim, I want to focus on local news here. Why do we have a culture of displaying? We must offer our clothes and run mad for institutions to take us seriously or for us to get justice for basic attacks against us. Why?
First things first, it's a sign of trust deficit on institutions, on government, on a whole lot of things. And the reoccurrence of such incidences, especially in banks this few months, is really worrisome. And you go to the bank and everybody is giving you a cold shoulder. The frustration can lead you to do things like that, but it depends on who you are. While others would want to pursue the intellectual side of it, you know, the gentleman side of it, some people can resort to this. I don't subscribe to this personally. I would rather ask questions on how fast will I get the attention of the bank. And somebody on your comments just gave that solution. It's unfortunate. It is only 51,000 naira shy of being a million naira that was taken away from Mama's account. Mama's account. Do you get what I'm saying? And with these times, that's a lot of money. And for Goita, Mali, wow, maybe he wants to be the next Paul Biya of Africa. You know, putting yourself as president in perpetuity.
Talk about job security.
What kind of job security are we talking about?
I'll start with the story of the lady that the money was deducted. Now we're talking about 949,000 naira. That's a lot of money. And I do not subscribe to the way she reacted, but sometimes frustration will push you. Our banks are supposed to keep our money safe. Olamide, this is not the first time we're hearing the bank has taken money and, you know, they don't give you tangible reason. You go to the bank and people are just keeping quiet. I'm sure that's why she reacted like that. But there must be a better way, you know, to react. We should not always showcase ourselves and always want to, you know, cause trouble. But it's really sad for that amount of money to be taken, and I hope that Mama is able to get her money back at the end of the day. Quickly, Brian. Yeah,
so it's so sad that we need to just strengthen our system. I'd been to one bank, you know, complaining to customer service, saying that each time I try to subscribe for, you know, recharge my electricity bill, and the lady was like, "Why do you have to use our bank to subscribe for electricity bill? It doesn't work." Like, I was just, you know, I was dumbfounded. We just have to strengthen our system. And very quickly, Mali Asimi Goita, you chased away the president, and then you are now coming in, rewriting the constitution. So how do we restore constitutional order when you are rewriting the constitution? I think we should do better in Africa, because when we say the West are bad, the West is bad, they've pilfered, they've stolen us blind. But then we are now doing the same thing, you know, giving them, you know, opportunities
he's waiting
to do.
For somebody to chase him out
Yeah.
too.
It's very sad.
That's really sad.
All right. What a fantastic show it has been. Olamide, thank you so much for those juicy stories.
Welcome.
I totally love the stories. Thank you so much. What a fantastic show it has been. But quickly, let's let you know that the views and reaction of our guests are theirs and have no connection with TVC whatsoever. Up next is Your View with Morayo and the Beautiful Ladies. And just after is This Morning with Yori Folari. My name is Ria Abdul. Good morning, Nigeria. And thank God it's Friday.